Hi guys, this is gsno.com and I'm here with the iPhone 15. So after unboxing the 15 Pro, we have the basic one, the one that's probably going to sell the best, most likely, since the predecessors also sold the best. iPhone 11, 12, 13 and 14 sold in an excellent manner worldwide as the time went by. So we have here a yellow version. It's already fired up and set up, so we won't waste any time. And already I can tell there's a pretty bright screen here. This year it also receives the dynamic island and it receives some extra, including the, USB-C port at the bottom, but only 2.0, not 3.0. Still a dual camera without much evolution for the camera, but there are some extras we should probably know. So the price is 949 euros and we're getting a USB-C to USB-C cable of the braided variety. No charger in the box, but we do have the sticker with the Apple logo, the metal key and a bunch of manuals with useful information about the device. Okay, so let's put everything back in, or try to, and proceed to analyzing the handset, which should prove to be a bestseller if we're judging by the predecessors. Okay, so basically what's special compared to its predecessor are the following: bigger battery, dynamic island, 48 megapixel main camera, Apple A16 Bionic processor, USB-C port, and it keeps the mute slider unlike the Pro models. We're done with the box. It's time to discuss the design. It's still a very compact and light phone. It's a 6.1 incher, just so you know. It measures 7.8 millimeters in thickness and weighs 171 grams. It's very easy to flip in the hand and use with a single hand. It's IP68 certified, can be dunked in up to 6 meters of water for 30 minutes. There's glass at the front with corning protection. There's glass at the back. There's an aluminum frame, not stainless steel, not titanium, but aluminum. Only 171 grams, and just so you know, the predecessor had pretty much the same measurements, plus or minus 1 gram. Okay, now the screen you're seeing here, it's a pretty beautiful OLED. Actually, we're talking about a Super Retina XDR OLED, and this one has HDR10 support, as well as Dolby Vision and the promise of up to 2000 nits, which was achieved first time by Apple on an Apple Watch Ultra and then on the iPhones, which were very bright. There's the dynamic island here, which can expand in certain apps. For example, if you're in Maps and you're following a certain route, you can see the route you're following here at the top, and the guidance will be available there. Or if you're in a timer, you go to the timer here, start the timer, you can see it expanding here, press it like this. So basically it's sort of a second screen if you want to. Okay, so moving back to the screen, it has an 86.4 screen to body ratio, ceramic shield protection, and 2556 over 1179 pixels resolution. Now, inside the phone we have a processor which is the Apple A16 Bionic 4 nanometer, taken directly from the Apple 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, after the previous model had the exact same CPU as the iPhone 13. It was a bit of a scandal there. There's 6 gigs of RAM, and starting with 128 to 256 and 512 gigabytes of storage of the NVMe variety. You can find some info here about the device, of course. There's a battery here with a capacity of 3349 mAh. The iPhone 14 had a smaller one, 3279 mAh. We don't have the exact charging speed, but you can juice up the phone via USB-C 2.0, so it gets a 50% charge in 30 minutes. There's also MagSafe with 15 watts wireless charger, and there's also stereo speakers, one at the bottom and one at the top for your acoustic needs. There's a mute switch at the side. There's no action button here. Probably next year there will be one. Now on the connectivity front, the device provides you with 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.3, GPS, NFC, USB-C 2.0, while the Pro has 3.0 and ultra-wideband version 2. In some countries all over the world, you can also have access to things like satellite SOS, only some of the countries. These are some pics we've taken with the phone, initial pics, fast ones as we played around with it. So now we can talk about the cameras. At the front, 12 megapixel and true depth sensor, f1.9, 4K, 60 frames per second. At the back, things are changing. We have a 48 megapixel camera here, main one, instead of 12 megapixel like the predecessors had. f1.6 dual pixel phase detection autofocus and sensor shift. The other one is a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera with f2.4 aperture and 120-degree angle of capture. Dual LED flash and a microphone here. There's no LiDAR sensor, but we do have 4K 60 frames per second. Now, some of the features you may already know from the previous years. So we do have panorama, we have portrait with all the special filters. We have photo here with the night mode, which can be activated automatically. And also with this option here to switch between profiles, color profiles. It's been a thing for a few years now. Okay, there's the video section. We can go up to 4K 60 frames per second. And we can also do this. Action camera is available here, action mode, sort of like a gimbal if you want to. And aside from the action, there's a cinematic video which lets you apply a blur when you're taking the video, but also give it a cinematic look while you're filming. Slow motion and time-lapse. From what I've heard, there should also be a night mode for time-lapse, at least for the Pro models. Not sure if this one also gets it. Okay, so I think this is pretty much it, and I think we should also probably cover iOS, iOS 17, because that's available here. Okay, so you can add interactive widgets. So for example, you have a list of reminders, something like this, add a widget, and you have some items on it. You can tap them from here interactively in order not to access the actual app. We also have a standby mode, put the device on a cradle like this. You're going to enjoy a slideshow, also a special type of clock. You also have name drop, so you can bring an iPhone next to it and have them communicate. And you can also go to the contacts area and create your own contact card, something like this. You can also create a contact photo and a poster and, tweak it. Use emojis, use special fonts, and create your own persona which will appear when you're calling people. We also have a cleaner messages app with an easier to access photo area. You can create stickers from photos and you can check in on your family. This one is a pretty important feature, checking in on your family, which lets you know that they're fine. So when they start traveling, you're going to get a message when they have a problem with the battery or the signal. That's pretty nice to see. Instead of Hey Siri, we now just have Siri to activate it. And there are more things coming for iOS 17, like a journaling app, which will help you with your mental health and include the music, the place you've been to, and a few other things to remember the best parts of your day. This iPhone is not fully set up, we're still discovering it, so yeah, it may take a while to get all things running. These are pretty much the things you should know about it, and if you're doing some FaceTime calls, you should probably also know that you can leave video or audio messages. And speaking of which, we also have live transcription for the messages that you're getting. So when you're leaving a message, if someone isn't picking up, you're going to see a transcription of their message, so you can see that if it's worthwhile to pick up. That's another one of the features in iOS 17. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is the most affordable version of the iPhone 15 series. It's going to sell a lot. The main evolution for me is the CPU and the main camera, 48 megapixel. Those are the things you should remember here. I could live without a dynamic island, but people probably cannot, even if it's just a gimmick for now. Expecting more features in the future. Very easy to handle, very compact and very light. We'll be back with more soon in the full review. Goodbye.